The Zalaxian sat anxiously in the waiting room. Trembling, she ran her free fingers through the tentacle appendages that ran through the lower part of her face. She looked up when she heard someone approaching her, and saw 2 council guards walking towards her. Motioning silently for her to follow them, she stood up and finally started approaching the council chamber. As she neared the center, a spotlight shone above her, making it hard to make out any of the features of the council members. Nervously, she began to explain the reason she had called this meeting. My government had attacked an outpost created by a race known as the humans. We laughed at them. They didn't even have a warrior presence on the outpost except for a few guards. We had captured them and were planning on— Wait! One of the council members interrupted. You are freely admitting to raiding one of their outposts? You do realize that your government is admitting to a serious crime? Yes, the female replied. It doesn't matter anymore. My people need help. Shocked muttering echoed all around her. The Zalaxian government was known for raids like this. However, they never admitted it, and took great lengths to cover up any acts of raiding and pillaging. That any member of their government was admitting guilt meant they were truly desperate indeed. Please, continue your story. You said you were raiding a Who-Man outpost? Who are they? She looked hesitant. Humans are a young, bipedal and mammalian race. They had not yet travelled out of their solar system except for this outpost. We had attacked it for 2 reasons. The first is that the colony had next to no resistance. We could detect no warrior presence beyond a few guards with simple weapons. The second is that we believed there could be no retaliation, at least not for several decades. The Zalaxian paused, looking around at the council. Even though she couldn't see their faces, it was clear that most were looking at her with disgust. Swallowing, she continued. We captured the survivors, and were planning on selling them on our home planet Zalax to work out a life of labour. However, when we brought them to the ship that we had landed on the outpost, there was an incident. Several of the restraint collars had malfunctioned, and some of the prisoners took the opportunity to escape. Taking weapons from our warriors, they barricaded themselves in the storeroom of the outpost. We didn't think much of it, as we still had the majority of the prisoners, and they had no way off the outpost. Since they were trapped and eventually would run out of food, we had decided to leave. She looked around again. The council seemed furious. She knew that admitting this would mean a lifetime of imprisonment at best. At worst, well, it wasn't worth thinking about. But it needed to happen if her people were to survive. A reptilian silhouette arose from amongst the council members. You planned on enslaving this lesser advanced species? Yes, she admitted quietly. Yet it was you that called for this meeting. Why? Has your government finally developed a conscience? Please, another council member interrupted. Let her continue. I'm interested in seeing where she's going with this. The reptilian-like council member begrudgingly sat down and motioned for her to continue. From what we could tell, the humans had no way of escape. We had destroyed their ships, raided their supplies, and had left them to die. After several years, we had forgotten about the incident entirely. It was then that we received a subspace message from the humans. It said, "Release our people, or we will free them from the ashes of your empire." We laughed. It wasn't the first time a young species had sent threats after our raids, and we knew that it wouldn't be the last. We were too far for them to retaliate, and despite the humans' physical strength and endurance, their technology appeared to be no match for ours, so we ignored them like the rest. But we realized our mistake when they arrived at one of our colonies. She paused once more, remembering the broadcast from the colony world. Her tentacles quivered in fear. We believed that the humans' technology was eons below ours after researching the tech from their colony. What we didn't know was that the humans had evolved on a world that had warred with itself for thousands of years before even attempting to colonize their first planet. Even after colonizing their first planet, the 2 planets waged war, even against each other. Most species, as you know, focus technological research and colonization, not on warfare. We realized this was not the case when they finally retaliated. With permission from my government, I have been authorized to release this holofeed from the attack. A large holographic screen materialized above her, in the center of the room. The council saw massive warships arrive in the lower atmosphere of the planet, which then proceeded to release hundreds of what appeared to be metal shells onto the surface. These metal shells you are seeing are what the humans call dropships. Each dropship contains a dozen or so highly trained human warriors. These ships will simply drop from lower atmosphere. Shortly before reaching the surface, thrusters will ignite, slowing the ship just enough to land somewhat safely. After landing, they emerged, killing any member of my species they could find. We fought back, of course, but there were thousands of humans, and we were unprepared for the attack. After they were finished, the humans brought every slave into their ships before departing. The video continued playing as she spoke. It showed camouflage armoured soldiers entering structures in an organised manner. Gunshots could be heard inside. Only minutes after they entered, the humans had left the structure, accompanying a young human slave that was inside and placing a marker on the entrance. There was silence in the chamber. No attack could be this organised or efficient. The video continued, showing this happening everywhere across the colony. According to the video, the attack had only lasted for an hour. In that hour, they had killed hundreds of Zalaxians, who were considered strong warriors in their own right. One of the council members stood up once the video had finished playing. The efficiency of this attack is shocking, true, and this may seem excessive, but the humans are clearly within their rights. You attacked one of their outposts and enslaved dozens of their people. Why then did you call for this meeting? The Zalaxian could feel hundreds of eyes glaring at her, expecting an answer. She nervously continued. There is more to this attack. Another holofeast started playing. In it, the camouflage humans could be seen entering their ships with the slaves they took. Once they had gone, the few surviving Zalaxians started emerging from their hiding places, horror and shock clearly shown upon them. Suddenly, a loud crash could be heard from the holofeed. Another metal shell had landed near them, but no warriors came out this time. Instead, a hatch opened, and what appeared to be a swarm of metallic insects were released. The council watched in horror as this metallic swarm descended onto one of the survivors. They appeared to be dissecting it. When the swarm left the survivor, it had doubled in size, and the Zalaxian was nowhere to be seen. The holofeed then cut out abruptly. The Zalaxian female started speaking again. These swarms appear to be some kind of nanotechnology. When released, they disassemble anything near them, using the matter to construct more of their kind. But it didn't just target the survivors. Another image appeared on the screen. The council started to murmur uncomfortably among themselves. The image showed a barren wasteland. No flora, no structures, and no living beings could be seen. After these nanomachines assimilated everything on the planet, they combusted, igniting the atmosphere and leaving behind nothing. And the humans didn't stop there. They have used the same tactics on many of our colony worlds. The image changed. It now showed a stellar chart with almost 24 planets highlighted red. Each planet that is highlighted red is now a planet that can no longer support life. As you can see, the path indicates only one target, Zalax, my homeworld. She could tell that she had the council's attention. Shaking, she said, I implore this great council to help us. We are powerless to stop the humans. We freely admit to our crimes, and we willingly face justice for our actions. But please, save my race from extinction. The council was silent for several moments. Then, the reptilian silhouetted council member stood up. You have given the council much to discuss. You have admitted to numerous crimes committed by your government, crimes that many of our member species have been trying to prove for as long as your people have been members of this union. However, we cannot ignore what these humans are doing. Until we reach our decision, you will be placed in a holding cell. Guards, take her away. The two council guards approached the Zalaxian. Please, she screamed, as they started taking her away. My people need help. Every moment you delay, hundreds of my people die. As she was dragged away, the entrance to the chamber began to close. The reptilian council member's shaken voice could still be heard. We will decide the next course of action. We will discuss what is best.